Now this is almost hard to believe. CNSnews.com. IRS sent $46 million in refunds to 23,994 unauthorized aliens at one Atlanta address, at a single Atlanta address. That doesn't even make sense. If you're an illegal alien, there's no chance, or undocumented worker, whatever you want to call yourself, that 23,994 of you all decided, I'm sure you know each other, I'm sure everybody know each other, hey, let's all use this address together. As I read this and said, yeah, I think I need to go ahead and do a video on this. And by the way, although I'm finding this now, this is actually from the year 2013, what I'm about to read you. Right under Obama's term, second term. I'm just going to ask, is it possible, we've been following the money laundering of these criminals to all these NGOs, we're going to give money to Ukraine, they're going to funnel it back to us, we're going to hook up Planned Parenthood, they're going to funnel it back up to the Democrats, which they have been, and other companies doing the same. Is it possible? Is it possible that this is just a nonsensical smokescreen kind of thing, in that these undocumented workers or whatever was another one, basically another money laundering scandal? I don't know, but I'm going to read you this. Again, this is from 2013. CNSnews.com, the Internal Revenue Service sent 23,994 tax refunds worth a combined $46 million to unauthorized alien workers who all used the same address in Atlanta, Georgia in 2011, according to the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration, or TIGTA. That was not only the only Atlanta address theoretically used by thousands of unauthorized alien workers receiving millions in federal tax refunds in 2011. In fact, according to TIGTA audit report published this year, 4 of the top 10 addresses to which the IRS sent thousands of tax refunds to unauthorized aliens were in Atlanta. The IRS sent 11,284 refunds worth about a little over $2 million to unauthorized alien workers at a second Atlanta address, 3,608 refunds worth $2.6 million to a third, and 2,386 worth $1.2 million to a fourth. Other locations on the IG's top 10 list for singular addresses that were theoretically used simultaneously by thousands of unauthorized alien workers included an address in Oxnard, California, where the IRS sent 2,507 refunds worth $10.3 million, an address in Raleigh, North Carolina, where the IRS sent 2,408 refunds worth $7.2 million, another one in Phoenix, Arizona, IRS sent 2,047 refunds worth $5.5 million, and an address in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, where they sent 1,972 refunds worth $2.2 million, an address in San Jose, California, worth $5 million, 1,942 sent there, and Arvin, California, where the IRS sent 1,846 refunds worth $3.3 million. Since 1996, the IRS has issued what it calls individual taxpayer identification numbers to 2 classes of persons. 1, non-resident aliens who have a tax liability in the United States, and 2, aliens living in the United States who are not authorized to work in the United States. The IRS has long known it was giving these numbers to illegal aliens and thus facilitating their ability to work illegally in the United States. For example, the Treasury Inspector General's semi-annual report to Congress, published October 29, 1999, nearly 14 years ago from this date, especially drew attention to this problem. Quote, the IRS issues individual taxpayer identification numbers to undocumented aliens to improve non-resident alien compliance with tax laws. The IRS practice seems counterproductive to the Immigration and Naturalization Service's mission to identify undocumented aliens and prevent unlawful entry. The Inspector General's 2012 audit report on the IRS's handling of ITINs, those numbers given out, was spurred by 2 IRS employees who went to members of Congress alleging that IRS management was requiring employees to assign individual taxpayer identification numbers even when the applications were fraudulent. In an August 2012 press release accompanying the audit report, TIGTA said the report validated the complaints of the IRS employees. TIGTA's audit found that IRS management has not established adequate internal controls to detect and prevent the assignment of an ITIN to individuals submitting questionable applications, said the Treasury Inspector General for Taxation, J. Russell George. Even more troubling, TIGTA found an environment which discourages employees from detecting fraudulent applications. Could you imagine working for the IRS and your bosses are telling you, hey, there's going to be some fraudulent application, but don't look at that. Matter of fact, you might get in trouble with us if you look at that stuff and even bring it up to our attention. And again, who was the head of the IRS at that time? Lois Lerner. Remember the Lois Lerner scandal, where they targeted conservative groups who wanted 501c3 status and they denied all of them, while these liberal left lunatic groups got all the status approvals they wanted. She had to step down, missing some emails. Again, under Obama. And again, I'll ask again right now. Is it possible we're about to uncover, even though this is an old article, oh my God, those damn Democrats, those deep state criminals were using these. These aren't even, maybe these people don't even exist. They're just saying they were undocumented workers. Why would you have all these tax returns? Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands going to one, like the first thing said, one single address in Atlanta, Georgia. Who the hell picked up those checks to go cash them, those tax returns? Who the hell picked them all up? Again, that's the key thing for me. And these other addresses that I listed, the one in Arizona, 3 in California, all that stuff, 1,500 of them were sent there, 2,900 sent over there, 3,800 sent over there. All to one address? You kidding me? Do they all live in the same, 3,800 people live in the same house? Same apartment or same office building, with the exact same address? So how, could you fit 3,800 people inside one of these? No, you couldn't. This, to me, stinks like more Democrat deep state fraud. Yet, when they wrote this article, CNS News, they weren't even kind of thinking about that, what I just brought to your attention. And I can only bring it to your attention because of what we learned through Q, how they've been funneling this money fraudulently, laundering it all over the damn place, and then getting it put right in their back pockets, these Democrats. That is why they want President Trump impeached, of course. In addition to the nearly 24,000 tax refunds worth a combined $46 million that the IRS sent to a single address in Atlanta, Georgia, the Inspector General also discovered that the IRS had assigned 15,796 ITIN numbers to unauthorized aliens who presumably used a single Atlanta address. Again, who's cashing these checks? When you sent back the refund, who got them? How did they cash them? The IRS, according to TIGTA, also assigned ITINs to 15,028 unauthorized aliens, presumably using a single address in Dallas, Texas, and 10,356 to unauthorized aliens, presumably living at a single address in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Perhaps the most remarkable act of the IRS was this. It assigned 6,411 ITINs to unauthorized aliens, presumably using a single address in Morganton, North Carolina. According to the 2010 census, again, this is what really triggers me to say what I said. So let me back up just to hear these numbers. IRS assigned 6,411 of these numbers, these ITINs, to unauthorized aliens living in a single Morganton, North Carolina address. According to the 2010 census, remember this was 2013, 2010 census, there was only 16,681 people. So for the IRS to have been correct, in issuing 6,411 of these numbers to unauthorized aliens at a single address in Morganton, it would have meant that 38% of the entire town's population was unauthorized alien workers using a single address. Do you even think that's possible? The whole town, you'd be looking around, well, there's sure a lot of, Mexican people, because that's typically what we're talking about here. And that's not been the case. I'm telling you, this to me stinks to high heaven of more Democrat fraud. Again, it was under Lois Lerner, her running the IRS, the whole scandal that she was a part of, Obama, etc. TIGTA said there were 154 addresses around the country that appeared on 1,000 or more ITIN applications made to the IRS. And then there's a note. And this is interesting because, again, this was back in, when was this posted exactly? June 21st, 2013, this was posted. So I want you to go back to 2013. And the CNS News team says, Dear reader, the liberal media are terrified of the truth, especially when it leads to uncomfortable questions about their own leftist worldview. CNS News covers the stories that the liberal media are afraid to touch. Although I'll tell you, they're not afraid to touch it. It's their job not to touch it because they're part of the liberal club. It drives the national debate through real, honest journalism, not by misrepresenting or ignoring the facts. CNS News relies on the support of our loyal readers to keep providing the news and commentary that matter to the American people, not just stories that prop up the liberal agenda. Make a donation today. Just $15 a month would make a tremendous impact and keep us shining light where the liberal media is afraid to. Dash the CNS News team. So, on any other day, this would have been an interesting read, just to let you know how effed up the IRS is. How could this not cause a red flag? How could you be sending all these checks, tax returns to addresses that go, thousands of people in the same address? That would be a red flag. I'd have an IRS agent over there. Hey, Bill, we're sending out, 8,000 of those addresses, mail over there. Go stand by and see who picks this crap up. Just stand on the freaking parking lot and see what happens. Hey, Bill, what happened? I didn't see anybody coming. I didn't see any, illegal looking people or, just a bunch of... Well, we've got proof here that those things have been cashed. Oh, well, someone inside this building must have cashed them, says Bill. And I didn't really see any influx of people coming to this place to pick up anything. As a matter of fact, it's an interesting building with a couple suites in it, You don't think the IRS could have done something like that? Or notified the FBI and said, hey, look, got a real interesting thing going on here. There might be some tax fraud going on. And of course, the FBI at that time would have said, especially 2013, yeah, we'll look into that. Throw it away instantly. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're going to look into it. That's Hillary, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Maxine Waters, the Democrats, Pelosi, Feinstein. Yeah, we looked into it, didn't find anything. Piss off. That's how that goes. I'm telling you, this sounds like money laundering and fraud. Fake, again, tax violations here of epic proportions. Who cashed in those refunds? And I'll go a step further, what if we find out, because I remember reading not too long ago, somebody had filled out a tax refund where they got back nearly $1 million. And the IRS actually sent them the check and they cashed it. And then they got found out, it was a fraud. They had a very basic job and they busted the guy. But they did issue that damn check, which was absurd to me. That wouldn't set off a red flag in their system automatically. Nope, give it to them. I'm going to go here. If that guy could do that, and that was fairly recently, is it possible that all these so-called undocumented workers, they're not, they don't even exist, but on IRS paper, ITIN numbers have been released. They reported that they paid somebody somewhere something in taxes and simply say, this is what I'm owed back. Here's my W-2, 1099, whatever. Give me my money back. And the IRS, oh yeah, okay, thanks. Sends it right back. Just because the IRS doesn't have records of your job and what you're doing doesn't mean that they can hold on to what you say they owe you. They have to take your word for it. So could you imagine? None of these people even exist, and it's another money laundering scandal by the Democrats. I don't know what it is. I'm just going to throw that out there as a possibility. Some criminal element somewhere is doing this. Ain't no way you have all these illegal aliens with the same address and there's thousands of them. Hell no. Take care.